My name is Michael DeVine. I'm a life, family, and business coach, and I'm about to be on the Online Prosperity Show. What you're about to learn today is that change in life is necessary. In order for things to change, you have to change. And it doesn't have to be big changes where you have to make leaps of faith. You can start with just reading 10 minutes a day, and that's all you need to build a successful life.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we have a very special guest who's here to help you F being broke. Yep, no apologies there at all. Now, Michael, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me, Prosper.
Fantastic. I see when I saw your script coming through on the show, I was just like, wow, F being broke. I think this is something that we need to all get an understanding of. And for those that are watching right now, if you're meeting Michael for the very first time, now Michael DeVine is a powerhouse when it comes to turning part-time coaches into full-time success stories. But before we actually dive into his genius strategies, Michael, I've got to ask, do you ever look at your bank account and think, wow, I should have started saving the world from financial tyranny a lot earlier? Because you're definitely making up for lost time now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I spent 35 years of my life just being broke and not really paying attention to what's important in life. I was watching movies all the time. I was playing video games. I was distracted, wasn't really paying attention to anything that was going on around me. And I feel like I got it started way, way too late in my life, but I'm trying to, help other people kind of get that kickstart and focus on what's most important in life so you can, you know, achieve for yourself, achieve for your family, do what you got to do.
Okay, all right. So now that you've said that, let me just cancel my Netflix subscription because it does look like it's actually costing me a lot more than the $35 or so I'm paying a month, right?
Oh yeah, small changes, big results. You don't know what's, the opportunity cost, what are you missing out on for spending so much time, maybe even watching something that's not really important to your life or what you want to do.
Absolutely. But you know what? The viewer is actually watching the Online Prosperity Show. So this is at least, worth their time, money, and effort, right? But we've already started, by you telling us that at 35, you woke up realizing that you needed a change. Could you maybe take us back to that moment where you actually decided to turn your life around? I mean, was it like an aha moment or did it just build over time?
It was built over time, we'll say, because back in 2020 during the pandemic, yes, I had a plethora of time. I was working from home at that time. My wife, she was still going to work as a medical assistant, and we had been in this apartment for about 5, 6 years, and she wanted to buy a house, right? And I spent most of my time playing video games back then. I was into the Marvel movies. I was playing games. I wasn't really focused, trying to make money. And during the pandemic, I just had too much time on my hands where it was like, okay, so this doesn't make sense for me. I'm wasting my time doing these things, and I could be out there trying to make more money and focus and try to succeed for my family. So once my wife, she really wanted to get a house so we can, obviously start having children, get married. I looked at our finances and realized that we just weren't in the place where I felt comfortable buying a house. And me and her had some very, very tough talks, we'll say that, about the direction that we wanted to take our family. And that's when I was like, you know what, I gotta make some changes. I gotta start learning personal finance and teaching myself these things that I never learned previous 35 years of my life. And it just snowballed from there, just self-improvement, business, starting my own business, helping other people succeed, and I'm being on this show right now. It's just a continual progression of what I'm trying to accomplish in my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, first of all, for choosing yourself and, looking after your family because so many people never let go of that game. You know what I mean? It's just the way that it's all set up. And I think, games update and they keep coming newer version that are running faster, they're becoming cheaper, and it's just making it easier and easier for people to just really sort of like escape naturally. So what sort of jobs were you into in this past 35 years?
Social work mainly. I was working when I first started college. I was undecided. I had no idea what I wanted to do at 18, and I felt like I was my parents. They pushed me into you have to go to college. You have to go to college. So what did I do? I went to college. I started getting student loans, and the debt started piling up. I ended up choosing psychology. Graduated 4 years, and then came out and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to become like a relationship therapist. I thought I wanted to become some type of coach. Didn't see any other pathway except going back to college and stacking on more student debt. And that was something that I just wasn't willing to do. So I just followed my mother's footsteps and went into social services. And I've been working that ever since. And like I said, during the pandemic, I was just looked around. I was like, I'm not making enough money. I'm not doing what I need to do with my life. This is not really what I want to do. I always thought and knew I was destined for bigger and better things. I just had no idea what that was. And uh, like I said, it's just snowballed into starting a business. Business is perfect for me now.
Now, you did mention that obviously your parents asked you to go to college. Your parents wanted, you to make something off of yourself and things of that nature. Was that just your family that does this, or is there a lot of other people that are just being forced into certain roles and jobs and college degrees that have got nothing to do with who they are or where they want to be in life?
Yeah, student debt is at an all-time high, and it's really one of the major downfalls of society today. How, the borrower slave to the lender. It feels like the system is designed somewhat where, people are strapped with debt and then they carry that for the rest of their lives. And we're quickly starting to learn now that the internet has opportunities and ways for you to learn that our parents never had in the past. So I don't blame them for telling me to go to college, because back in the day that was the route you took. If you wanted to get a great job and you wanted to succeed in life, you had to go to college. That's what we were pushed into, like from all the advertisements that were out there, and from everyone that we talked to, the most successful people who are earning the most, they all went to college. So but now there's a different way. You can teach yourselves these things. Like Jim Rohn said, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. And so you have to educate yourself beyond anything that you learn in school.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, fish do not see the water that they swim in, and neither can we see the air that we're breathing, Michael. And around you, were there other people that were taking the alternative route, or what you would have just seen go to college, get a degree, get a formal sort of education is sort of the norm around where you are, because you can't hit a target that you can't see. And if you haven't got any role models or any representation around you who have actually succeeded, it's very difficult for you to actually make the leap.
Absolutely. So my mother, she was a Mary Kay consultant. So she, that was network marketing, and she was very successful with that. She made it to the top 2% of the company. So she was always a grinder and hustler, and she's my motivation for making these changes, because I saw how hard she worked in her own business. But she still was the type to say, "Hey, college is very, very important," because she went to a couple years of college. My father did as well, but neither of them graduated. So I was basically the first one in my family to graduate, which was a very proud moment for all of us, definitely. But I don't think there was anybody else around me that was starting their own businesses, where, doing anything else besides graduate high school, go to college, graduate, get a good job, and then stay in that job for as long as you can.
And I'm thinking this is pretty much what it is that you're now doing for other people, because representation matters. Because if people can't see somebody who looks like them, talks like them, has been where they've been, or comes from where they come from, they won't be able to see that in themselves. Like it's very difficult for you to tell a kid you could also be like a president, or you can be like Elon Musk, if they haven't seen somebody close to them actually accomplishing that. Because they wouldn't see themselves in and amongst that. What's your comment to that?
I said you're exactly right. Most of our community, who do they see succeeding most of the time? The sports athletes, the musicians and rappers, actors. That's what they see. That's the role model. Those people are one in a million. It's very hard to break into those industries, and you have to be the best of the best of the best to even get close to it. But there's normal everyday people, starting up businesses and learning how to teach themselves finances and learning how to control their money, getting into the stock market, and surrounding themselves with opportunities like that. And I believe that is a route that our children need to know is available to them. Sales is the number one making skill in the world. And if you know how to sell, like you can basically accomplish anything you want to in life. And, I always say business is about sales. And so business is an excellent choice if you don't necessarily want to go to college. If you're trying to figure out a new route for yourself, figure out some people's problems and solve them.
Now, obviously, you were into sports, movies, TVs, video games. What were you playing before? Like, what sort of games would you play?
Halo. I love first person shooters, any type of multiplayer game. So I was into League of Legends, StarCraft, Call of Duty, Warzone, stuff like that.
Absolutely. Now, do you think having this sort of experience would help you connect with the kind of people that you now want to talk to, because everybody else is in this sort of escape mechanisms, and for somebody who doesn't know how to play these games, it will be difficult for you to actually cut through.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm speaking to an audience, when I talk, it's a dad who wants to make a better life for their family, someone who grew up playing video games and sports and was all into all those things. And there's different ways to do things, and there's ways to succeed. Like I can still enjoy a movie here or two with my wife, like all the time. But when I'm sitting down by myself, it's usually with a book, and I'm reading, and I'm just educating myself further and further and further, and it's just planning to snowball that into the future.
Absolutely. So let's go back to the conversation where, the wife started mentioning, hey, we could use a house, we could use more money and things of that nature. Was the conversation said or spoken in a way that, hey, get up from doing those games, or was it just a suggestion that we could be working on that? Because the reason why I'm asking this is so many people might not quite realize when the conversation is actually happening that this is the call to action that they're waiting for.
Yeah, so it started off as a subtle suggestion at first, right? And as I started researching and taking those footsteps to figure out how to buy a house, because I had no idea how to do that, I started learning a few things about personal finance. And I remember there was one key moment where I was in the middle of a Call of Duty Warzone game. It was towards the end. I was about to win, and we had a call with a realtor to talk about the first steps in buying a house. And I desperately wanted to finish in the game. And the call started. My wife went to talk to him by herself. I won the game, but I lost the war because she was not very happy, and I missed the call. And that was where I was like, you know what? My priorities are not straight. You know what I'm saying? Like in that moment, I cared more about the video game and getting a win for nothing, instead of, helping my wife and figuring out where we're going to live in the future. So that moment is key in my mind, where I was like, yep, I flipped the switch. Then I was like, I can't do that no more. Nope. That was just ridiculous.
Oh, I can only imagine. There you are, you're about to slay some dragon, and then the call comes in, and you're like, what should I do? Life or
Yep.
game? And
Yep.
an escape was what you chose. Fantastic. I can only imagine what would have gone on from there. But obviously, getting started is not easy. What sort of steps did you then start taking? Because people wouldn't know where exactly to start, and what was the terrain like? Because this is new information that you had to now start learning. Where did you go, or who did you turn to for that?
I would say books, right? Like all the knowledge that you'll ever want to know is inside of a book somewhere, right? You can learn about anything and everything within a book. There's millions of books that are printed every single day. There's something for everybody. I would say that is the one habit that has changed my life forever, and I will never stop. Is reading for 30 minutes a day. That's it. And you don't have to start at 30 minutes. You can just start at 10 minutes. Read a page tomorrow, and then just read another page the next day. The next day, you can start at the smallest spot. But reading really, really was the habit that really opened my eyes to what was possible and within my life. And there are tons and tons of books about whatever you can imagine, self-improvement. Fiction is my favorite, just reading about business and life. And uh, I would not take that back for anything. I'm just going to read for the rest of my life. I already know it.
Fantastic. I can actually see your library there is slowly growing, and
Oh yeah.
obviously, obviously, with time, it will start becoming an asset. Because it's pretty much how I also got started, my man. I just started, reading a few books here and there. Now I am known at first name basis at my Goodwill, and also my postman is always delivering books from Amazon, because there are some people that actually throw away books, or when somebody, like God forbid something happens to me with such a large book, shelf. My kids wouldn't probably want all of them. They'll just donate a whole lot of them. So there are books that you can actually buy cheaper from, secondhand places, which will not be sort of like mainstream type books, but that will actually give you an edge towards creating something of note. But when you then started going into business, what was it like? Doing something that obviously is not what you were used to. You had to start off on social media. What sort of obstacles did you come across from that?
Ooh, fear of judgment for sure. I started off actually as an anonymous account because I was scared to show my face. I hadn't been on social media for about 10 plus years because I just didn't really like searching for likes and trying to see, who was online. And I was a huge introvert because, like I said, I spent most of my time playing video games. I had a core friend group, but most of the time, I was spending, just time virtual like this and wasn't really talking to people. So I was really, really scared. And I really had to start understanding that, fear is an illusion, basically. It's just me stepping out of my comfort zone into something that I've never done before, and there's nothing wrong with that. And in order to succeed, I had to start making those choices and had to start putting my opinions out there. And then eventually, I had to show my face and tell my story.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And the more you show up in this space, you know what I mean? People get to actually want to know your story and your journey and how you actually conquered whatever dragons or slayed them, for you video game types. You can tell I don't have the lingo, but I'm really trying as you go. But also in the video game speak, every level has its own devils. You know what I mean? I can
Yes.
attest to the video games that I know. Little Mario starts off small, but then it gets bigger, and so are the little things that are supposed to eat them, and things of that nature. What's been the journey like so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. So at first I thought my video game, like I wasted so much time on those video game skills. But, now that I look back, I'm like, okay, so it definitely taught me, like you said, if you're encountering obstacles and challenges and bad guys and enemies, you're going the right way, right? So that's how I take it within business and life as well. It's like if you're not being challenged, you can't overcome that challenge and become the champion that you're meant to be. So now I look for the challenges. I look for things that are a little bit out of my comfort zone. I know that I'm going the right way if I keep challenging myself and keep doing that. So I always say that life is, it mirrors a video game in some way. And like you said, you just got to keep leveling up and keep going further and acquiring more skills. And eventually be at the end raising the trophy up and winning at life, and just like you do with a video game.
Absolutely. See, I don't know if they still make them like that, but first level, you struggle, but then once you've conquered, you now know. where to jump, how to double tap and things like that. Second level, you start learning, but when you fail at second level, you just go through first level, and then now you're on to second level, and then wherever you are, you're sort of adding those skills and also learning from other people. Like what they do these days, you can watch somebody on Twitch and actually learn how they overcome certain hurdles and things like that. But you moved on from mom and you started, acquiring obviously books and other sort of mentors and influencers and people along the way. Who did you come across that sort of, started helping you level up? And what sort of advice from these mentors has actually resonated with you that you still work with up until today?
Well, the one influencer that has changed my life the most, I would say, is Myron Golden. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he teaches business principles from the Bible.
Right.
And I grew up a big Catholic. My whole family's Catholic. And, that kind of resonated with me on a deep level where, he's talking about how just have to abide by the laws of nature. Just do what basically a lot of the things that he teaches in the Bible about staying consistent and having a goal and understanding that you have to have faith within the journey and just keep pushing, and then you'll make it. And so he's been one of the biggest influencers in that regard. One of the best books that I've ever read, "You Are a Bad A" by Jen Sincero. Oh my God, that book blew me away, especially the one about making money. That one kind of like really reignited my passion for helping people overcome, even their poverty mindset in order to get the wealth that they want to within their life. And then I've had a couple coaches along the way that really have pushed me and helped me understand what business is all about and how you can show up. You don't have to online. Sometimes people want you to fit into a mold and like, okay, so you're on this platform, so this is how you're supposed to talk and you're supposed to do things this way. And she really helped me realize that I can build my business how I want to. This is my thing. This is something that I'm going to be working on for the long run. So it's better be something that I really, really care about and really like. All I have to do is focus on helping people and finding a problem that I'm passionate about and that I feel that I can really help people with, and then creating a unique solution to help them do that.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously now, you went on, started your journey as a business person, but for you to be called a business person, you gotta have clients or people that you're actually billing in order for you to sustain yourself in terms of business. And obviously signing your first client is always a big deal. First keys, first client, first everything else. What was it like for you? And yeah, how has it sort of change your approach in getting business moving forward?
Yeah, so I struggled for 14 months when I started my business to kind of sign my first client. And once I got over that hump, it was just amazing. It was beautiful. So I realized during the process that I was focusing on a lot of things that I thought was moving me forward. It made me feel like I was being productive, but I was actually wasting my time instead of, getting out there and actually helping people. I was trying to, build a fancy website, a whole email list. I wrote an ebook that sold nothing, it was like a bunch of things where it didn't really push my business forward, but it made me feel good. Like I was doing stuff. So, I actually signed this client when I was networking, just, hopping on calls, having conversations with people. And he said that he needed some help or in a coach. And so I basically challenged him a little bit, understood where he was coming from. And then a week later, he signed up for my coaching program and we scaled his business to $10,000 per month. And it was beautiful.
Fantastic, and congratulations. You see, the thing about being online business is there's so many moving parts, but very few of them result into real work. Okay, like you said, conversations, having actual conversations with the people that you're going to be creating for and relating to what is essential. Online, you could start creating a website, posting on social media, entering into internet arguments about your topic, and you think, whoo, you know what? I worked today. But if you look at your bank account, crickets are even louder,
Oh, yes.
in there than anything else. But obviously, you you were resilient. I mean, 14 months, somebody would have given up, thinking this is not working, or this is just, a high sounding nothing. What was that pivotal moment that, you actually started looking at maybe this as a way to go, or because somebody would have started thinking this is failure, all right? And you would have maybe had a mindset shift around, not looking at this as failure, but actually as growth or a learning curve.
Yeah, so as I was reading books preparing to start my business, a lot of them said that perseverance is one of the strongest abilities of someone who is successful, someone who stays consistent and disciplined. And I learned that all work works. If it's not working for you yet, it's working on you. Those challenges are only making you better in the long run. So I told myself that I couldn't lose if I didn't quit, and so I just kept at it, and I just kept that mentality. Like I said, I kept trying new things and this and that, and I realized that I was a novice, and the pro is the amateur that just shows up every day and continues to do so. So I told myself that I was new, and this was just the learning curve that I had to go through, and I just had to put in and pay my dues.
But Michael, when we first started this call, you introduced us to a scenario where you literally had to do something for your family. Now I can imagine you going on a 14-month training and learning would not have been the outcome that everybody was sort of anticipating. And you've managed to juggle a business, a job, a family. First of all, what's the secret to actually maintaining this balance without losing your sanity?
Like I said, you have to focus on the right things, right? And so I realized that I didn't need video games in my life. I didn't need movies in my life. I didn't need TV shows. Yes, they're fun to watch, and I do miss them sometimes, but I'm like, okay, so let me wake up in the morning, let me meditate, to relax, get my mind right. Okay, so then let me journal a little bit to unload my mind. Like, what am I thinking? Then I set tasks in the morning about what I want to accomplish that day, maybe three, four, five tasks that I would really love to get done. Then I work on the top task, get the hardest ones out the way early. They say eat that frog. That means get the first one out of the way first. So then the rest of the day is downhill and it's easy. So then I tackle those tasks. Once I finish those, I know I've had a winning day. I've accomplished a lot. I work on my job for as long as I can, and then I'll get to spending time with my family. And that's basically my whole day and how I keep my sanity. And in between that, I'm taking walks, I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm reading, I'm eating as healthy as I can, and just trying to sticking to what's really important without all the distractions.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you said, you can't do well if you're not feeling well. Eating
Oh
healthy
yeah.
and just having a good frame of mind will help you weather all the storms. And it's not really all about money. If you can create an environment within your household where peace of mind prevails, everything else, subsides, and money just becomes something that is one of the things that you then count along the journey. I also like what you mentioned, which is eat that frog. I bought this at a fun fair with the kids, and every morning I'm
There you
literally
go.
eating that frog. You know what I mean? There's so many things
Awesome.
as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, as a friend or employer, whatever it is, you want to tackle whatever is the hardest thing first, and then once that is done, all the easy things, fall along the wayside. Now, congratulations, Michael. You've actually achieved one of your first goals, and I think it was 30 days ago. You celebrated having moved into your actual first first home. How did that feel for you?
Man, it's amazing. Just the sheer joy of knowing that I provided that for my family and we have a place to call our own has just been, everything that I could ever ask for. And I'm so grateful and thankful that, we were able to get into our first home. And it's like I said, it was a big goal that I had set. And when we originally moved into it, I didn't really celebrate as much as I should have. So then the last couple of days, we've been really like settling in and understanding. It's been a long, journey to get here, and this is a huge, major accomplishment that we set out to do, and to finally have it is just a blessing.
Fantastic. I mean, this is one of those things that, when you set out to achieve something and then you achieve it, it's a good feeling. But I wouldn't start resting on my laurels because the house needs cleaning. If you can start setting a routine around the family, cleaning it, really appreciating it. The more you do that, you give the house energy and it pays you back in terms of love, memories, and everything else that comes along with it. But if you let it go, have you ever noticed that whenever somebody lets a house go, it starts decaying or dying or breaking? And before you know it, it's now asking more from you, which is maintenance and all those things. So if you look after it, it will look after you.
That's great advice, and I've got a crash course in that for the last 30 days.
Yeah, because now you're in charge, man. It's one of those things. But you're also known for your fun, but obviously no nonsense approach to coaching. Tell me, how do you balance the empathy and accountability? Because you seem to be a very nice guy, but I wouldn't see you as somebody who's onto it and everything else. Yeah.
I don't know. I've always been the type of person who likes things straight, no chaser. I'm like, don't sugarcoat it, just give it straight to me. And I like people who understand that, can also handle something like that. And so, yes, I'm a goofy guy. I love having fun. I love helping people. But, when it's time to get something done, I'm very disciplined and consistent with the message that I want to get out to people, and helping them to achieve their goals, because, this is it's serious business. A lot of people, put their lives into their whole business. And so, understanding that we can have fun when we're having fun, we can talk, we can do all that stuff. But when it's time to like set these goals and make sure that we're accomplishing them, I mean, we got to get to it and get to it.
Absolutely. Now, tell us a little bit about your coaching program, and how, obviously people are benefiting from it, and maybe what makes it stand out from all the other high ticket coaching solutions out there.
Yeah, so I've been helping entrepreneurs, small business owners, coaches, consultants who are stuck in an income plateau, and really juggling family life and business life. And I help to get them clear, confident, and highly paid in 12 weeks. So we basically focus in on those high value, money making activities. I love always referencing the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. It's like, what 20% of your actions are going to get you the 80% of the results? And then what 80% are you spending your time on that are getting you diminished returns with the 20%? So if you're doing 5 things, one thing you're doing right now is going to push your business forward the most. How do we focus in on that thing? Let's spend time there, understanding your big goals that you want to accomplish, and focus all of our energy on that. And I feel that my results speak for itself. Like I said, it's all about, you don't have to be like the most professional coach out there, or someone who has 100 different testimonials all of raving. Like, if you can help someone 2 steps behind you, you're in a good place. Like, all you have to do is get a few people results, show that you have done this and that you can get more people results, and then just look at people just 2 steps behind you. Someone who's just starting their business could really benefit hearing some of the things that I have to say, because like I said, I've been through 14 months where I didn't make a dime in my business. I can help someone skip that learning curve. Okay. So then I did sign my first high ticket client. So there's a lot of people out there who are still working and signing low ticket clients who, they're undervaluing themselves so much that they can't make enough money in their business to survive and then thrive. So I know I can help those people as well. And then scaling a business past $10,000 per month, a coaching business that started from scratch, I have skills and I understand how to do that as well. So these are things that I can hold concrete and say that I've done. And if someone else wants to experience something where they can have similar results, I'm all for helping that type of person.
Absolutely. I mean, like we were joking about earlier on, that, anyone with a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt and a laptop can call themselves a coach, but you've had that lived experience and you've actually gotten the results for yourself and for your clients as well, because you literally went through all of this. Now you're showing people the receipts, and you're showing people that you can actually shorten that learning curve for them so they can do it cheaper, better, faster, and have, that which they seek to have. But with what you're doing, you're sort of giving people permission to, first of all, be doing have a happier existence or business that's profitable and enjoyable. You know what I mean? And from that, you should be experiencing some sort of really good turnarounds for people. What's been the most rewarding moment in your coaching journey so far, and how has that sort of impacted your own personal growth?
Well, I would say one of my clients, he came up against an NDA when he was building a course, right? And he was almost finished with it, and he was about to release it, and then a company that he had consulted with before gave him an NDA, or not an NDA. It was cease and desist. So he was cease and desist. So he said, "Do not put out this because it'll violate the contract," right? And so he was up in arms, and we had just had a coaching call the day before, so it would have been another week before we were scheduled to talk again. And so all I did was like, "Hey, just call me if you got a chance. Let's just talk this through if you want to." He ended up calling. We talked back and forth, and then I got the idea to, okay, let's steer him in the right direction. Let's not focus on the negative. Like, what does this open up for us? Like, what opportunities can we look for? And we made a switch to going full time into coaching. And that month, his first month of coaching, he made over $7,000 in his first time coaching. That was the first amount of money that he made in that first month. It was crazy.
I can only imagine, because this person was coming across a wall, and you literally looked at the 360 or bird's eye view of what's possible, and they could have been stuck in that by now trying to fight that battle, whereas you just literally told them it could be better, and they went a different route. It's like a video game. Have you ever seen a non-player character just keeps walking into a wall and it's not going anywhere, and then you just literally divert them, and then their day goes by, and things of that nature. So what sort of advice would you give to maybe a new coach who's feeling overwhelmed by all this advice that they are getting on the internet or on YouTube or other gurus, and don't even know where to start?
Sure. First thing I would say is don't start your business because of your passion, right? Figure out a problem, a need that you can fill for somebody, anybody. Who would you like to help? Pick those people and then figure out a problem of theirs, and then use your passion to maybe help solve it as you're building out your unique solution. So in my coaching program, it's basically 5 steps that I take people through. First is we're going to focus on your ideal clients. We're going to figure out the needs, like I said, that you're going to solve. And then we're going to figure out what makes you unique in helping them solve that. So ideal client, we're going to figure out what makes you special, your unique selling point. And then we're going to build you an offer. How are you going to solve their problem? Is this an offer that is going to stand out from everybody else? And then the next step is we pick your platform. Do you want to stay, on the social media platform that you're working on right now? Never, ever spread yourself too thin throughout social media. Pick one platform that you really feel like your premium ideal clients are going to be at, and then dominate that platform. Go all in. Don't focus anywhere else. Spend all your time building yourself on this one platform. And then the last step is sales. Like I said, business is about sales. If you don't have sales, you don't have a business. So that is the number one skill that you must learn how to do. You can bring in a bunch of leads, but if you don't know how to close them, that's useless. You need to learn how to talk to people, understand their pain points, understand their dream outcomes, and position yourself as the solution that's going to get them from where they are right now to where they want to be. And that's all you should be talking about within your calls. And then if you can master that technique and you can talk to people and be able to let them understand that you're there, the best chance they have to accomplishing their dream outcome, they'll buy from you all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And if somebody is really, really keen, sitting at the edge of their seats, they are almost about to throw their game controller away into the bean right now, where would the best place that they need to go to in order to contact you?
You can reach me on LinkedIn, Michael J. Devine. Otherwise, my website is michaeldevine.life. That's MICHAELDEVINE.life.
Fantastic. I'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes below, so that people can actually get started on their journey. Now, Michael, when we first started, you introduced us to this guy who felt like he had lost 35 years of his life and he could have done much more with all of this stuff, and been in a whole different place right now. But I think everything happens for a reason, because if you hadn't gone through all of that, you wouldn't have been the person we're speaking to right now. You probably would be on the next flight to Mars, because Elon Musk now has an opportunity for people to go on there, or something crazy like that. But looking back on your journey, what sort of advice would you maybe give to your younger self? Not necessarily you, but somebody who would have been in your position, say 35 years ago, and you really want them to know that the future is a whole lot different to what it is that they are going through right now.
Well, I would tell them to stop stressing about, what you want to do with your life. You're going to figure it out. You don't have to worry too much where you're stressing yourself out and then you end up not doing anything at all because you're just confused. Take some time, read, stop playing video games all the time. There's time for that later on in life, but right now, where you're still young, start picking up some books one by one, figure out what you want to read, and just take it on from there.
What I'm hearing from you is do society a deed, pick up a book and read, because readers are actual leaders. And, the thing about a book is somebody puts in the effort, their knowledge, their IP, all in the space of 165 pages plus pictures and some other, in some other books, and they're giving you their life, advice, all for you to just consume in either one sitting or two, or whichever way you consume books. But I really, really appreciate you sharing your insights and knowledge with us on the call today. But it would be remiss from me to end this show without us knowing what's next. Where are you now headed to? Now that you know what you know, you've obviously reformed yourself, gotten one of your goals. What's next? What can we anticipate in the future that you're working on?
Well, I really want to focus on my brand, F being broke. I really want to build that up to a national level where it's a anthem for people who are done with settling for less, who are done with mediocre lives, who understand that they must empower themselves financially. You have to, because we're thrown into the ocean and there's financial predators and sharks all around, and we're not taught a thing in school. I want to empower those people that there is a way that they can succeed and accomplish their dreams, but they must focus on the right things. So FBN Broke is my call for financial empowerment and financial revolution. It's a way that we're all gonna become wealthy and prosperous and really live our lives to the best that we can.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to be a part of. I think it's a revolution that you're getting started. You know what I mean? What do we want? Where do we get it? Do you know what I mean? And then
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
oh, fantastic. But I really appreciate your time on the call today, and you're sharing your journey with us, because I viscerally believe we're here to live, to learn, and to contribute. And in order for you to live your best life, you need to learn how to do that, and you've done that. You've gone on. First of all, you learned the bad side, and now you're learning the good side, and you're mixing all that together, and you're sending it down, as a nice package for those that want to learn, and so they can elevate themselves. So kudos for you for having listened, obviously, first of all, to your wife, and now you are helping other people along the way. So I can't wait to see where you're going to take this, Michael. So yeah, F being broke, bro.
Appreciate you, Prosper. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on the show, and I had a great time. You're a lovely host. Appreciate it.
Good on you, right. Now, for those that are watching, wow, what an inspiring conversation with Michael F. Being Broke. I think that's your new name, my man. Um, what that truly showcases the power of transformation and resilience. And I think if you want to know and learn more on how you can also scale your coaching business or simply just get inspired to take action, I'll be putting all the links in the show notes so that you can actually connect with Michael. And I also encourage you to do this. If you're watching this up until now, first of all, look at your situation. If you're okay, send this to somebody who really needs it. There's a lot of people out there that don't have the opportunities that we actually have. Just like Michael was sitting in his house thinking playing video games on a big screen is all there is to life, but it could be more. I mean, after listening to this podcast and hearing what Michael did to transform his own life, you could actually be that person for the person that you're going to send this to. So take a moment to just hit that share button. That's all I'm asking from you. In the meantime, if you're going to be looking for more insights like this, be sure to come back on the Online Prosperity Show, where we actually help you build a profitable and enjoyable business in your own spare time. Until next time, stay prosperous and F being broke. Bye for now.